A convincing win in the end by Multan Sultans, and a much needed one as well. A change of venues overall. The first game in Multan, and Multan Sultan is back to their winning ways. They love playing over here in Multan. This is a venue that they absolutely love. They've got a stellar record. And what a performance by them. Yasir Khan at the top, really setting the tone for them. And then the bowlers really doing their job. Overall, those 2 points, much needed 2 points for Multan Sultans, are now on the table. Jubilation all round. I'm sure Mohammad Rizwan as a captain is relieved and very happy with the result today. Hello and welcome to Pitchside. What a fabulous win by Multan Sultans. We spoke about how this venue really suits them. All the numbers showing that they do really well here. And it seems pretty much that they've started off from where they left in Multan. And we're talking about today's win. Of course, the batting was great. The bowlers as well chipping in. Osama Mir back to his best. And because we're talking about Osama Mir, I've got a bunch of spinners on Pitchside today. Lisa Strelekar and Alex Hartley join me. Alex, you mentioned the fact that you want to be smiling at the end of the day, and we couldn't have seen a wider smile. So well done, firstly.
I know, I did tell you today I want to finish the day smiling, so I'm glad I've got to see you and I'm glad I'm smiling. But we needed that win, didn't we? We really did. Obviously the spinners have got back into a little bit of form. Osama, like you say, back at his best, but Bracewell for me has been outstanding since the first 2 games, so I'm really happy with how the spinners went, but even happier with that we got the win on the board.
What was it like coming to Multan and knowing that you hadn't won a game and knowing your record? Was there extra pressure tonight?
Look, it is a little bit of a fortress this for us. I think now we've won 11 out of 13 games or 12 out of 14 games, something like that. So we knew that we've been successful here. We're not a team that's used to losing either, so it has been a bit of a shock, to be completely honest, that we were none from 3, because it's almost like, well, hang on, we've been so successful, we've been the most successful team over the last 2-3 years without getting that title. But we also know when our backs are against the walls, that's where you've got to fight and that's where you've got to be at your best.
Well, sometimes a bit of change can also help things around, and bringing Yasir Khan at the top, you know, he was the replacement for Shea Hope today, and you know, spoke to him earlier on as well. Seems like a really hard-working guy, and you know, he's delivered the goods out there.
Yeah, absolutely. He had one message, and that was to go hard in the power play. He played a few games last year, and there was a game where he got 50, but it was off 50 balls, and he got dropped for the next game. And it's almost like, well, hang on a minute, he's got 50, or he's thinking I've got 50, but it wasn't good enough, it wasn't quick enough. And he's learned that lesson. He goes out now, he takes ownership of that power play, and he's been chomping at the bit to get out there. Obviously we've had the overseas at the top of the order, which hasn't quite worked, so a little bit of a meeting yesterday to decide to shift that round, and it's worked for us.
Was it that, as in Shea Hope wasn't working, or the fact that probably your international bowlers haven't been as successful in leaking too many runs at the back end?
That is absolutely our bowling in the first 3 games hasn't been good enough, and actually we conceded 200 again today. So you know, we have to look at that, we have to execute our plans, and almost we're going into meetings, and yes, the batters have been bowled out in previous games, but they're chasing 230, they shouldn't have to be chasing that many.
You know, we're talking about getting the runs at the top, but the bowlers also did a great job, and Osama Mir definitely looked like a much improved bowler. And of course, you've been having a talk with him, you've been chatting to him about his bowling. I mean, what's that been all about? Just share with us.
Yeah, look, for me, there's no technical work that I need to do with Osama. It's all tactical, it's all plans. He went away from his plans in the last game, and we were saying, well, you need to go back of a length to TKC, Tom Kohler-Cadmore. He didn't, he went full. He was bitterly disappointed in himself, and we spoke yesterday, we had our bowlers meeting on our plans to Sam Billings and Shikanda Raza and all these players that, you know, we're going to come up against, and to put them into practice at training, and he did that, and he bowled really well. We weren't bothered about the outcome of in the nets yesterday, but can you execute the plan that we talk about at the top of your mark? And today in his first over, I think he actually went too full, but what is impressive is he recognised that a lot earlier today.
His numbers away from home aren't great. So how do you, as the coach, how do you get him prepped? I know you've got a few games here now, but when you go to Lahore, that he still has the same impact?
Leave him here. Look, he's a wicket taker, so actually he's taken wickets away from home, but he's just been more expensive. And I think sometimes as a spin bowling coach or a spinner, if you're taking wickets, you can leak runs as well. And I'd actually, if he got 4 for 45, I'd be so happy with that. So we've got to take the numbers with a pinch of salt as well.
Tell me, what role does the leadership play when you've been having back-to-back losses? Somebody like Mohammad Rizwan, you know, he doesn't seem, he never seems panicky, at least out there on the field. Despite having lost all those games, what was his message to all the team?
I mean, I've never seen him panic in my life. You know, even when we lost the final last year, it happens. It's a game of cricket. He talks about champion mindset and wanting players to play like champions. And he said, when your backs are against the wall, this is where champions stand up. This is where champions come out. And luckily, that worked today.
A word on Ubaid Shah as well, because, you know, PSL, HBLPSL has all been about, you know, youngsters. It's all been about grooming them, and we've seen him in the HBLPSL before, but that wicket of his was extremely crucial at the time that he got it as well. So moments, the turning points.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I think it's a fantastic rule that you have to play an emerging player.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it gives you a headache as a coach because you're trying to pick the right combination and you're throwing a youngster into the deep end. But Ubaid has stepped up, hasn't he? He's been fantastic. He's taken wickets. You know, he's worked on a knuckleball. He's been bowling that, and he turned around to the fast bowling coach Kat and said, I bowled my knuckleball, and he was so excited about it. And yeah, I'm incredibly pleased for him, and he's got a high ceiling. He's going to be a good player.
What's been the most exceptional thing that you've seen from such a young guy?
I think his bravery to, you know, he only learnt the knuckleball last week. His bravery to bowl that in the games and go, all right, okay, let's just see what happens. Also that confidence that he has. I love a player with, it's not arrogance, it's confidence, and he has that for such a young lad.
Maybe we can get Bracewell to bowl a little carom ball. Come on.
Well, I did today, there's a difference between being brave and being stupid, and he said I've either got to be on top or they have to be on top for me to bowl that.
Yeah.
I want to see him bowl 4 overs. Why didn't he bowl 4 overs?
True, true.
Well, the whole team, obviously, much needed win for confidence-wise as well, you know, just to give you a confidence booster. But, you know, you share a great relationship with the owner, Ali Tareen, as well, and he seems to be one of those guys who's very involved emotionally. You know, you have different kind of owners in franchise cricket, some other ones which are very laid back and unassuming, and then you've got characters which are very animated, and Ali seems to be definitely that kind.
And he's the complete opposite, genuinely the complete opposite. He's involved, he loves the game, he loves cricket, he doesn't mind if we win or lose as long as we're fighting and we're showing character and we're playing for the people of Multan, is his message. He loves to be at cricket training and around the game because he just loves the game, loves watching, but I think the way he comes across on social media and him always being involved is actually the opposite to what he is as well.
Usman Khan has also been one of your key players in your side, you know, did so well last year, got those hundreds in Pindi, seems to be now getting some runs. I mean, he hasn't really got a big one yet, but at least it seems like he's getting in some kind of form.
Yeah, look, he's a brilliant player, isn't he? And I like the fact that when he's behind the stumps, something is always happening. It feels like one of those players where anything could happen at any point, but he's the one for me when things have been going wrong in the previous 2 games, he's actually taken ownership and he's taken the game on. He's been that aggressive player that we've asked him to be. So yeah, look, his runs will come.
How's the relationship with Ubaid Shah and himself? Are they talking? Have they kissed and made up?
Wasn't that the funniest thing you've ever seen?
It was very funny.
This is actually keeping me from going to pretend to punch him in the face.
Yeah, I think I like that question. We want to know more about that.
Come on. We want to know how long it's taken them for him to calm down. He was still fuming.
He was angry, wasn't he? He was so angry. Because I haven't actually seen either of them.
Okay.
I've just said, well played, well done, we've got the win. But I will be taking a shy away from Ubaid.
Put your gloves up.
Yeah, helmet on.
It's all right. A bit of fast bowler's aggression, you know, we can all do with that. Yeah. But Alex, I'm not going to keep you here long because I know that you've got to go back and celebrate and obviously look forward to the next one. Thank you so much for joining us on Pitchside. It's always a pleasure to have you here, talk cricket, and much more as well, but that'll be off air.
I'll be back at the next win.
Next win. All right then. So that's what you heard from Alex. Obviously very jubilant and happy with the way the team has performed. Well done to Multan Sultans. They needed this win. They needed those points. But we're still around because we've got plenty more on pitch side. So don't go anywhere. Back on pitch and just discussing how brilliant Multan Sultans has been on their home ground, a venue that they absolutely love. Now I've been joined by Dominic Coke in the studio. Koki, just the kind of win that Multan Sultans wanted, a much needed win, and we know that they love playing here.
Yeah, and also I don't want to say brave by Mohamed Rizwan, but win the toss when you're under pressure and say, I tell you what, we're going to have a bat first and we're going to bat the opposition out of the game, which they did. I think 210 was the highest score before this game. The highest run chase was 167, so everything was in their favour. So it's a much needed win, but also some good performances throughout. You can go all the way through batting, all the way through their bowling, some decent fielding as well. So a complete performance from a team who dominate here in Multan.
Absolutely, and whenever you talk about wins, the most important thing is setting that momentum from the start. That's what we saw from Multan Sultans today, because they had Yasir Khan at the top, really setting it up for them, and he's also our player of the match today.
Well, we heard Alex Hartley talk about the fact his role was to go out hard and really attack the power play, and that's exactly what he did. When you think of who he's coming up against, some serious bowlers that have picked up plenty of wickets, it didn't matter. It didn't matter who came on. Their first delivery, he made sure that he hit straight through the line. It was pretty impressive, 87 off 44, 6 sixes and 6 fours. And a strike rate of 197, and you thought he was going to go all the way, but unfortunately he didn't.
Speaking to him, he spoke about Koki, how he's been really working hard in the nets, and you know, he got this opportunity instead of Shea Hope, and everybody who saw him batting in the nets was high praise and talking about him in high regard. So it's just great to see that you've got somebody who's been given an opportunity and he just makes the best use of it. Yeah,
and also a big call to leave out some of the players that had to leave out. Shea Hope, you know, bringing an extra bowler, he goes in there, so the pressure's on him already. We know what Shea Hope can do. He's only got, what, 150 before this performance, and I just like the way that he didn't look to try and overhit balls. It was still proper shots. Some of those clips leg side was all about timing. An excellent player, and to go and mix in with Mohamed Rizwan as well, who on his day can win the game single-handedly. It's all about, like I say, is getting the team right, getting them gelled in, and Yasir Khan looked amazing tonight. Well, it was always going to be a tall ask when you talk about, you know, chasing that down by Lahore Qalandars. It would have been some kind of a record chase in Multan for Lahore Qalandars. And Fakhar Zaman got some runs at the top, but they didn't really get partnerships going at the right run rate as well. So time to have a look at the wickets of Lahore Qalandars.
Well, they needed to be able to get off to a flyer, and you felt that they were in with a chance with Fakhar Zaman, but partnership, their opening partnership, has really struggled. This was a sensational catch. Josh Little, the ball went to the moon and back, and he managed to cling on to it. What a way to kind of start your performance in the HBLPSL. This was strangled down the leg side, Abdul Shafiq, and it was a great DRS to do that, and then this was the ball to dislodge Daryl Mitchell, the one that just nipped back between bat and pad and hit the top of off stump. And then as the run rate started to increase, you can start to see a few more swipes across the line, top edges, good catches taken. This was a celebration. I hope we see it. Yeah, there we go. Watch out. And then it was really a chance for Sikandar Raza to be able to kind of stay out there. He just needed someone else, and unfortunately just wickets kept falling down the other end. But they did well to narrow that gap. between the runs and what they were getting. So in the end, they only lost by 30-odd runs. So in the end, a good performance from the Multan Sultans bowlers.
Well, over 220 runs, Koki, was never going to be easy to chase, despite the fact that the conditions were great for batting. But it's never easy whenever you have anything which is over 220. Where do you think Lahore Qalandars perhaps missed the trick in the batting?
In the batting-wise, you just need one of the top three. They've got to go long. Faka is the man, I think, once he gets in, he's hard to get out, and he just mistimed that shot over deep mid-wicket. It was a good catch by Josh Little, because it went a long way up. If he stays another few overs, then all of a sudden the pressure is on the bowlers, and they would have been, especially with Sikandar Raza down there. They back really deep, but you need one of the top three to stay there for a period of time. But all round, I'm sure when they're in that changing room now, Shaheen Shah Afridi say, look, we didn't do any part really well tonight. We didn't bowl as a team. We didn't bat as a team. I don't think they fielded as a team. So it wasn't really their night tonight, but take nothing away from the Multan Sultans. They played excellently, set up by that excellent opening stand, Yasir Khan, and the way that they bowled. So there's work for both sides to do. They can both get better.
Speaking of how they bowled, I'm pretty sure you'll be extremely proud of what we just saw earlier on tonight, that peach of a delivery by Ubaid Shah. I mean, these Shah brothers, they know how to make the ball talk. Time to have a look, as it's also our turning point of the day.
What's good about this delivery is just the way that he's able to push it back in. And when I say that, because his brother Nazim is looking to swing the ball out, but with his action, it's all about pushing it back in. Every coach's dream this, hit the top of off stump. What he did really well is his length, his pace, and his aggression. That's what I like about this young man. Excellent from him tonight.
We're talking about these Shah brothers. They're surely extremely talented, Lisa. I mean, you must have seen Hunain Shah is the third brother that's part of this HBLPSL. Then you've got Ubaid, you've got Naseem. So much to love about them.
Yeah, there's a great thing about families that love the game of cricket, and you know, I wonder what their backyard or front yard games of cricket would have been like. I think it would have been quite fierce. And because you've got your siblings around you, they push you, they challenge you, they question, they'll pull you up if maybe you're not eating right, or you're taking a morning off and not training. So those little moments give wonderful foundations for all of these players, and then you just see what they've been able to do, and they've just been able to come onto the stage and do well.
It's still a rarity to have so much talent in one family, Koki, because normally you do have, you do have cricketers that exist in the same family, but the talent levels are quite different. Here, you have obviously somebody like Naseem Shah, who's got a lot of experience, but even his other brothers seem to be, having some kind of spark in them at least.
Well, Naseem probably sets the standards, and the other two are trying to reach those standards. And when you watch Ubaid, he's got the ability to push the ball in. He's a different bowler than his brothers, so is Hunain as well. They're both, all three of them have got pace. So they've got obviously an ability and a natural athleticism to actually run in, because it's not an easy thing to do, and I assure you that, to run in, day out, and to try and bowl quick. So they've got the foundations there. Naseem has his foundation. He's gone on and done it at the highest level. It's now down to see whether the other two brothers can do it. And we've all said it. It's about nailing your position in these franchises. Get yourself in this team, become a regular member, be a household name, and then you may get into that Pakistani team.
Yeah, it's absolutely the ticket to get into that Pakistan side, because definitely the national side is one that's always looking for young talent. We saw that with Naseem Shah as well when he started, how he was picked, and then he started playing across all formats. So a great opportunity for all the youngsters in the HBLPSL. Take a short breather and we'll see you guys shortly on the other side. Wonderful win then by Multan Sultans as they continue to make this venue their fortress. We spoke about Multan and what made them so good, but speaking of Lahore Qalandars as well, where they could have made changes, what they could have done differently, let's find out from a new set of experts. I've been joined now by Bazid Khan and Mark Butcher. Butch, great to have you back on pitch side. You're also a pitch side veteran.
Indeed, yes it is. It's wonderful to be back, listening to the birds chirruping in the middle of the night. It's wonderful.
Absolutely, it's just great to have you here as well. Baz, not a great day for Lahore Qalandars, whether that was an aberration or whether it was something that they perhaps need to reflect upon. But just talking about their bowling then, I mean, great venue for batting. Do you think they could have done anything differently bowling-wise, or is this venue going to be considered a bowler's graveyard?
Look, Lahore Qalandars are the type of team that once they get on a roll, they really run with it. I reckon the problem was the 7-day break. They were playing beautifully and they won that previous game comfortably and looked to have things sorted, and then comes a 7-day break. Right at the start of the tournament, I think it was the first game, Shaheen Shah Afridi asked him, I said, people say that Lahore Qalandars is like a diesel engine. It takes time for them to start running. He said, no, we're F16. But in actual fact, they start slow and then they build normally in a tournament. But I reckon because of those 7 days, they've either lost a little bit of rhythm or just too slow to start, or maybe the change of venue also. But in a T20 tournament, if you have such a long gap, it does affect the team.
And, you know, we spoke about in the pre-show, Butch, how they're heavily reliant on somebody like Fakhar Zaman, really scoring big and getting those big runs at the top. Perhaps a little on the middle order as well. When you are chasing something above 200, you know, you can expect a little bit more from them.
Well, yeah, I mean, Daryl Mitchell got knocked over by an absolutely sensational delivery from Ubaid, so no blame goes to him. Sam Billings played a sparky little innings, and Sikandar Raza made 50, right? So you'd sort of go, well, the middle order went fine. Well, the only issue with that was that Sikandar and Billings didn't bat together in the crucial part of the game, just after Daryl Mitchell was knocked over. And because they held Raza back, and I don't know, I can't think of any decent reason as to why they would do that, but they did. They held him back and held him back. By the time he got out there, by the time he got his feet under the table, Billings was gone as well, and the run chase was over, no matter that he played beautifully at the back end. So I don't think that they did anything particularly wrong. I still think that the area to look at is Naeem at the top with Fakhar, and the pressure that Fakhar then gets put under by having the youngster down there. He's still struggling to find his feet a little bit. Now, whether or not you keep going and hope that it clicks, and when it does, we'll all be going, well, it was a good thing for him to have stuck with him. But at the moment, it's a little bit of a bit of concern. But I don't think there are too many other bits of concern, barring the decision making as to who went in and batted where.
All right. He spoke about, Butch spoke about Mohammad Naeem, but it seems like Qalandars love bringing in players from either the PDP program or just giving those young players a run at the top, despite consistent failures. We've seen that in the past as well in the last few HBLPSLs. They seem to have this certain amount of belief, which is perhaps good to see as well, Baz.
Yeah, that's their philosophy. They back their program, and they take pride in their PDP program. Every other year, they'll talk about a player that's coming through. Haris Rauf, for example, is the biggest example that they have, but it's the way that the franchise works. I think the great thing about Lahore Qalandars, it's a very relaxed franchise. So even though they have lost today, they'll bounce back because of the management and the whole sort of the vibe of the franchise is so laid back. So there's not undue pressure on anyone. You have to brush up on plenty of things, but I think sometimes, just sometimes, like today, they were very slow to start with the ball. I thought they were a little bit sloppy. I think Shaheen Shah Afridi, normally so good in the first over, one down the leg side, just set a bad tone, and then from that it just sort of went worse. It is a side that can bounce back, but if you really want to nitpick, that I think the attention to detail throughout the game, throughout the 40 overs, not just the bowling and the batting, the attention to detail wasn't great.
Well, Multan Sultans did no wrong today. They were great with the bat, with the ball, as well as in the field as well. Took a brilliant catch. Josh Little out there. Time to have a look at the safe hands for today.
towering catch this from Josh Little. The ball went so far up in the air, it would have been very easy to misjudge this, but the Irishman did not. There was a wonderful first touch from him and a beautiful example of safe hands. Crackers around such an important wicket as well, given the run chase. And to cling on to that, knowing the man that he was going to be catching or dropping is so important in terms of the way this game was going, made it all the better. Rizwan liked it.
Well, these catches which are all running backwards, Baz, they're never easy in the deep.
Well, in the white ball coming out of the black sky is never easy, and once it goes that high, it takes some catching. We've seen so many times when the ball goes up and players sort of lose the depth of the ball. We see on TV and say that's regulation, but I always found that, especially in day-night games, judging the actual depth was a huge issue, and once it goes that high and you're standing underneath it and thinking about it, then it becomes a huge problem.
Excuses then, all the floodlights and all of that, all excuses in it by all these excuses by Baz.
In the daytime it's difficult too. I mean.
All right then, excuses by Butch as well. We have a bunch of guys who love to make excuses. But anyway, talking about Yasir Khan, we spoke about how special his innings was, Butch. And sometimes it's just that one change that you require in your team, and he can almost completely change the way your team is behaving, your team is playing, momentum-wise as well. It just brings in so much energy. That's what we saw from Yasir today. Yeah,
I mean, he's proven himself to be a fine player at the top of the order anyway. And I suppose it happened a little bit by accident, because in order to get Josh Little in to reinforce the bowling, him being an overseas player meant that Shai Hope, who had the job at the top of the order, had to make way. So Yasir is the ready-made replacement for that, and he comes in and just plays like he's been there all season. You know, he never ever looks out of place when he gets a go. I suppose the question is, why doesn't he get a go more often? And I'm guessing that's the question that we'll be putting to Shaheen over the next few weeks if he finds himself back on the bench again. But he just looks to be such a wonderful player, really fine ball striker, has all the shots, and also has a sort of ability to kind of, I thought the understanding between himself and Rizwan right at the beginning with the running between the wickets and just getting everything motoring along was really, really good. A wonderful sort of tempo set for the entire innings for them. So full marks to him.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. He's played in 3 PSL teams, so people have looked at him. He's got talent. I think now he's starting to just mature a little. He got 100 in a Champions Cup, the domestic tournament, and got 100 there. So now maybe his time that he's stepping up a little. People send me a lot of videos of him practicing, and he looks really good while he's practicing. And the best part about all that, his nickname through his club sides and the way he plays is Yasir Kohli.
Yasir Kohli.
That's what they call him.
Wow, I love that. Yasir Kohli is that's news to us. A bit of information given by Baz. Yasir Khan's nickname is Yasir Kohli. So we can hope that he can actually develop into a player like him. That would be definitely great for somebody like Yasir Khan. But speaking of tempo, you know, we spoke about how the tempo changed with Yasir Khan batting at the top. There was also another guy who gave some glimmer of hope to Lahore Qalandars. Sam Billings with that fabulous knock. Obviously went in vain in the end, couldn't really get through the line with them, but overall a fantastic knock by Sam Billings. Some time to have a look at his boundaries.
Yeah, Sam Billings, we know how pure a striker he is, and once he gets in, he can hit every delivery to the fence. Short ball, full ball, everything just disappeared off that bat.
Well, 2 points is what Multan Sultans now have on that table, something that they were desperately wanting, because remember, it's the top 4 that will be qualifying for the playoffs. Time to take a breather. See you guys on the other side. Well, Yasir Khan was brilliant at the top, scoring all those runs as well, but he's got that ability to clear the field and hit over the top. It's like time to have a look at some of his sixes for today.
That was just clipped away, and that was pure. He does have the quality of being able to make it look easy, but the sound of the bat tells you that these strikes are pretty much huge. That was a flat one too, so
well, Yasir Khan gave plenty to cheer about for this crowd that's turned out today in Multan, because when you talk about Pindi had a great turnout. Karachi was okay, we saw some better crowds right towards the end, but Multan is always a place that doesn't disappoint. Decent crowd in, and they seem to have a bit of fun today as well. Time to have a look at the refreshing moments of the day.
91 metre 6, full toss, and was absolutely spanked into the crowd. And that gentleman there pulled off one of the catches of the night. No prizes on offer for that. Maybe we can do something about that next year in HBLPSL 11. But that was a beauty. Well done, sir.
Well, essentially, you just have one more activation to voice, so we'll keep that in mind for next
Replace
year.
another one.
Yeah, why not? Why not? We love a few activations with the cricket men. All right, this is how the table looks like right now. Multan Sultans are still at the bottom of the table because they have lost 3 of the 4 that they played. But they've got the 2 points now. They've kick-started their campaign at least. Islamabad United standing strong right at the top. They are the defending champions and playing well once again. We've got Karachi in the mix, Lahore Qalandars and Zalmi. It's looking rather interesting in the middle there. Well, we'll be seeing you guys later on today. I was going to say tomorrow, but actually it's not tomorrow because it is already 1 a.m. So Multan Sultans, the home side, is up against the table toppers, Islamabad United, and we will be bringing you all the action live from Multan. Islamabad United, Baz, you know, the city that you belong to, and you've already called it that they are again the strong contenders for this season, and they seem to be definitely listening to you well because they're doing so well. I mean, a very, very tough team to beat, but I'm interested in seeing how they'll play here.
yeah, fabulous team. They're able to now actually experiment. You saw Azam Khan open in the previous game, so they're a team that's winning and are confident in their abilities. The only thing that's not going in their favor is that Multan Sultans play wonderfully well on this ground, so that just evens things out a bit. But you look at the structure that they play at, the way they play, and the team that they have, one standout team has to be Islamabad United, but you want Multan Sultans to rise. You want, because of the crowd, because of the home crowd, you want them to get their spinners in and cause a collapse, which, by the way that Islamabad United play, they are susceptible to. They can fall in a bunch because they play ultra aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. But just on the table then, which I know you've just joined, but you've been following closely. It's looking interesting because you've got Islamabad United right at the top, who's been, you know, undefeated. They've been doing really well. But then in the mix now you have Karachi, a team that hasn't done well in the last few years. Yep. And now they're sitting at the, you know, at number 2. Then you've got Lahore Qalandars. They lost today, but they've generally been really good. There's Quetta, there's Peshawar, Multan. So just saying that right now we're in that phase of the tournament where it could be any 4 teams to really sort of, they still have an opportunity to be making it to the playoffs.
Any question. I mean, Karachi are there in 2nd place on 6 points, but they played 5 games. Multan now have a run of games at home, and we know how successful they are here. Zalmi can be very, very good or very, very poor. You know, there's Quetta also in the mix. Nobody is out of it as yet, and that's always the exciting part about the way things go at this particular point in time. At the moment, the team to beat are Islamabad. Repeat of the final tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in. It should be a belter.
Absolutely. We're out of pitch side now, finally. It's time to go home. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your thoughts and your insight. Always, always very valuable. Once again, a huge congratulations to Multan Sultans. I know the fans here really enjoyed this spectacle today, but that's pretty much all that we have. We'll be seeing you guys in a couple of hours' time. So, see you then.